Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Li Yuan from JISC CITES. I'm based at the University of Bolton in UK. And CITES stands for Center for Educational Technology and Standards. And it's an innovation support center founded by JISC to provide advice and support on use of education technology in higher and further education sector in the UK. So in this presentation, I would like to talk about some lessons we learned from the UK OER program on sustainability issue related to OERs, and share some thoughts on developing a sustainable OER ecosystem in higher education. So I'm currently involved in supporting the UK OER program, and also my colleague John Robinson and my colleague Chris from Open University, they are here as well. So after the presentation, they would like to answer some of your questions. First, I would like to briefly introduce you to the UK OER program, and some of you may already know it very well. And since 2009, a multi-million-pound open educational resources initiative has been launched in the UK higher and further education institutions to make a wide range of open online learning resources freely available and reused by both educators and learners worldwide. So the program divided into two phases and has been joint managed by JISC and Higher Education Academy. And the pilot program started from April 2009 and finished in April 2010. And 29 projects were funded in 3 different strengths: institutions, subject center, and individual. And the second phase of an OER program called UK OER 2 started in August 2010 and will finish in August 2011. And 23 projects were funded in 3 activity areas: the release of OER, the use of OER, and the discovery of OER. So as with other OER programs and projects, sustainability issue is one of the top concerns for the OER program. In the program call, the institutions were required to embed the practice of open educational resources release beyond the funded life of the project. So therefore, the obligation is not just to develop a use of OER, but also develop an approach that enable university to continue release and release OER and release the learning material openly and for sharing and reuse. In our paper, we focus on the institutional strength. We will look at the institutional approach to address sustainability issues in university. So 7 institutions were founded to develop existing teaching and learning resources into OERs that equivalent of an undergraduate course. And all funded project has identified some issues related to OER sustainability in their institutions. And also different approaches have been proposed to address the ongoing issues of sustainability. So during the OER pilot program, a wide range of issues related to sustainable OER producing and reusing has been identified by projects. For example, the time and effort required to move to sustainable OERs and building awareness of academics towards OERs and staff development, incentives for sector-wide sharing, evidence of effectiveness in the use of OERs, and easy use tools for dissemination and deposit. And OER should be widely recognized as good for UK high-E. Also, policy and practice to encourage and offer reward to open behavior, support and advice on copyright, recognition of multiple purpose of OER and the value of re-learning resources, policy for potential risk management, and guidance for new OER users and producers. So in order to address those issues, institutions have adopted a diverse approach and models for producing and reusing OER across institutions. Some key principles for develop sustainable OER practice have emerged from the program. First, creating and modify policy to promote the release and reuse OERs. For example, some project has developed policy to embed OER into teaching and learning practice. This requires staff to use OERs in their course, but also to release OERs when deliver and develop new courses. And some institutions also developed to integrate develop policy to integrate OER into their professional rewards and recognition schemes. Developing guidance and support mechanism for long-term OER release. And some institutions have adopted a centralized model of OER release by establishing a central support unit within institution to provide technical and other support for producing and reuse OER. Others adopted a distributed model that no additional staff were recruited, and the responsibility of producing OERs assigned to representatives from different departments. Also, creating community of practice. One of the approaches used by some projects was to developing community of practice to support academics to sharing content and practice with others through OERs. So OER provide opportunity for academics to work with others in same discipline and from different institutions. Also developing new business models to make effective use of OERs. Some institutions started to explore the benefit of OER to institutions by using OER as a basis to create new courses and developing new partnerships nationally and internationally. For example, some OER projects develop international partnership with OER Africa program to improve the quality of OER and also support effective reuse locally. And removing technical barriers to make OER release and reuse easier. And most OER projects use the technology and platforms that their institution already use and that academics are familiar with. But some projects also develop the specific tools for producing and depositing OERs to make deposit OER easily. For example, some project has developed specific tools to help non-technical academics to develop highly interactive and accessible multimedia online resources. One project have developed OER submission widget so that an academic can drag and drop OER resources into the widget on their desktop. So I just put some essential metadata so the item will be sent to their institution repository straight away. and encouraging wide participation and provision of staff training on OERs. Some institutions has integrated OER into postgrad certificate learning and teaching in higher education curriculum so that OER become integrated part of their professional development requirements. Also, staff training have promoted the awareness of OER among academics and help them to deal with IPR and copyright issues. So the UK OER program has provide opportunity for government funding body, institutions, and academics to work together to look into organization, cultural, pedagogy, and technical issues related to OER. And in our paper, we use the ecological approach to examine the UK OER program in order to capture the comprehensive views and the interactions between stakeholders around OER, and also to indicate where changes should happen in order to develop a sustainable OER practice, and identify pathways, connections, and support activities in order to the establishment of a sustainable OER ecosystem. According to OER Foundation, that a sustainable ecosystem requires that elements of the system are continually engaged in a set of relationships with every other element constituting the environment in which they exist. So OER initiative provide necessary elements in the relationship and interactions that are required for developing sustainable OER ecosystems. In an ecological view, OER ecosystems can be studied in many levels. The globe, including the macro global education level, the national education system level, and the macro institutional level. The main entities in all of those systems include individuals such as educators, learners, and organizations, community, also funding bodies and governments. So a sustainable OER ecosystem can only be achieved by all those elements continually engaging with others within and outside their systems, enable them to realize the tangible benefits of supporting learning in all education settings, including informal and formal. So the UK OER, the ecological approach provides us a useful framework to analyze and examine the development of OER in the UK context. So this diagram illustrates how funding body, institutions, academics interaction within a particular education system. Also indicated the key interactions, dependency, and influence in order to achieve sustainable OER. So in this case, the UK government committed to establish a professional developed, organized content infrastructure through OERs to support informal and formal education. And the OER program, by using national funding model as an incentive and steering device that enable institutions and academics to explore how best to achieve self-sustained OERs. And it is clear that higher education institutions in the future need to develop new strategy and policy, new business model around OER and improve the efficiency of education, reduce cost and improve quality. Also, educators and learners need to participate in community of practice where development and reuse OER become a normal consequence of educational activity. So this meso level of OER ecosystem rely on the success of the macro level of OER project. So if successful, it will eventually foster the global OER ecosystem at global level, at a macro level. So in summary, the sustainability is a key issue for external funded OER projects, and UK OER program provide the opportunity for institutions to explore different models to address these issues. And also, it is important for institutions to develop policy and support mechanism to embed the process into academic practice to continue releasing OERs and promote community-based approach, and so where develop OER become an integral part of teaching and learning practice. Also, it is important to develop a sustainable OER ecosystem where the government, funding agency, institution, academic continue engaging in involving process to develop a sustainable OER in higher education. Thank you very much.
Questions? Any questions related to this presentation?
Well, part of what you said, you described sort of some alternatives that you've tried. So you talked about centralized, distributed, and you also talked about existing platforms or specific tools. So have you got any sort of data from the fact that people have tried these different approaches as to whether what context one works and what context another one works?
Yeah, I think we have in the paper we have exactly, for example, unicycle project. They have used the distributed model, and the Oxford University, the project called Open Space, they use the centralized model. Yeah, and it has been found that most sustainable approach would be to empower academics. They publish their resources themselves rather than taking the financial burden to building a centralized team for them to publish resources. This were in the paper, but not in the presentation. Yeah, thank you for asking.
One question, you mentioned these principles or advices on funding new partnerships for creating new environments of open educational resources. These partnerships are based on data or examples of private and public partnerships related to open educational resources. Are they considered as well?
Yeah, do you want to answer that question?
I don't know that I don't know that I know exactly the answer to the question. I mean, what's been quite interesting about the UK OER activity has been the spread of institutions it's been across, and I don't know whether it came out that clearly, but the subject centre partnerships involved very large consortiums, so you're having partnerships across institutions. I've forgotten how many partners, maybe you were quite a large number of partners.
18 partners. Yeah.
18 partners. I mean, I don't know what other national bodies are like, but 18 institutions agreeing even on what the word partner means, is quite an achievement. So, yeah, we made quite good progress. So, it's a really interesting, although they've only been 12-month projects, UK OER, because of the diversity and because they've funded projects at the institutional, individual, which I think is a very interesting and exciting level to fund projects at, a very small amount of money has gone quite a long way. I think there's been limits because it's been only 12 months, but there's been a huge amount of learning as a result of that. And I'll be talking about it later on.
Yeah. Also, there's some website links you can access to know more from. They have all the report about the program, or also their proposal and the project plan, all available on the JISC website.